Well, good day, all. Ira Epstein of Linn and Associates with your SPDR ETF wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for Wednesday, December 8th, 2021. All right, I wasn't here yesterday. Christmas dinners, it's that time of the year. You get invited out. I couldn't get out of it, and it was an early one in the afternoon, so there was just no getting away from all this, and it's something I had to go to. Last year we didn't do anything, so it's nice to at least see friends and so on at this time of the year. We'll worry about everything else later. Let me tell you my thoughts on where we're at in the market. I think that the market is already looking beyond, at least in the United States, Omicron. I think that what we're hearing from Pfizer, that the third shot does the trick, is all the market needs to hear, and we have a way we discount very fast. So I don't believe Omicron's any longer the event in the United States that it is in Europe. Example, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the UK, put them into a Plan B today, the country, and that's because they're not as vaccinated as we are, and now everybody has to work from home. You heard what I just said. Imagine what that's going to do for businesses that count on this Christmas. Now, it's corporations, it's offices. I don't know if it's restaurants. I'll read about the rules over the next 24 hours to get a better understanding of it, but it's happening right away. That is not good. That's going to cripple a lot of things. Think of all the Christmas parties out the window. I don't know if they're all gone, because he said that if you go to a big venue, you have to bring a card, a vaccine card to get in. So how does this exactly work? I want to read more about it, but it doesn't sound good on the surface. The next thing that I'm just looking at is inflation. I know we're hearing about it, and I know tomorrow's number is supposed to be one of the biggest we've seen, period, okay, in many, how many manys you want to hear, years. Is this old news? We know the Fed next week, now that Omicron is not going to stop them, they're going to do what? They're going to belt tighten. There's no doubt in my mind. Do I know? Well, I know 99.99%. That doesn't mean I know, but that's what I'd fully expect. They're going to say, hey, let's move on with this tapering and get it done sooner rather than later. Instead of $15 billion a month, maybe they go to 30. There'll be a number. Omicron event today, I think now, says that. So you get a hot number possibly tomorrow, but the market already knows what's about to happen. The Fed's putting itself in a position to fight it. We're not seeing interest rates run away in this, because instead of the rates, they're playing with the curve yield. They're flattening this whole yield out like that. The short term's coming up and the long term's has dropped, and it's not rallying very much right here. It's sort of just sitting, and they'll bring the front end up to it. That seems to be what the market wants, and it's sort of a Goldilocks event for the stock market. I don't see where any of that's bearish, so I'm still looking very much for year-end traditional rally into year-end. Do I know if I'm right? No, I don't know if I'm right, but that's what I think. So as we take a look and we look at like a Tesla, Tesla fell back, didn't quite want to fill this gap, and you've had your bounce. As Elon Musk said, this is no longer his baby per se. SpaceX is the baby now. It's the one that needs the nurturing. This has matured into a real car company at this point in time. The market still has a basic downtrend. The market's under the 18-day average, so I'm going to look for resistance at that, let's call it 1083 level. You hit the lower Bollinger Band 2 days ago. What do I teach you? The first time you hit a band, be it upside or downside, or where pros typically take money off the table if you're not embedded. If you're embedded like you were here, they'll take money off the table, but not all of it. They'll take money off, they'll buy the breaks, take money off until you lose that embedded reading. That's what I teach. It's in my enhanced Bollinger Band course. If you go to our website under research at www.iraepstein.com, you can get the course there. Apple. Everybody I see that from Morgan Stanley, Wedbush, they're moving their target up to $200 for the next part. But I teach you, you never buy over an upper Bollinger Band. I don't care what they say. That's what I teach, and that's what I stick with. You get opportunities. The market has a way of coming back and letting you in on better terms. In ARC, you rode the lower band, and then yesterday this market took off, and that did what? I want you to look at the embedded reading. Now, take a look. This is Monday, Tuesday. On the close yesterday, you had a reading of 25.63. Any reading over 21, you have to be out of your shorts. So that's what I think. I think you ended the bearish game on that, and you might reach up to the 18-day average to try to figure out what next. In the industrial sector, I think the market is looking for what the next play is going to be. You know, we had a monster vertical price rise. You know, the market is suddenly with the Omicron saying, wait a minute, if it's not as bad, why is the industrial sector down? The factories aren't going to shut. People are going to be able to work. They're going to want materials and the like, and that part of the sector came alive. When you look at the semiconductor, I'm going to tell you what I keep saying. Anytime you have an industry that's got a 2-year backlog and has pricing power, I don't care what a chart says. You don't have to take bear signals. You don't have to be long when you get them, but you wait for your buying opportunities because this baby still looks good. Can you imagine if all the auto manufacturers were able to get their hand on the chips they want? Well, that's what you're hoping to see. Then when you look at the cannabis, this looks to me like the event today that is signaling you don't want to be short anymore. You need a close over 21. I think you might get it tomorrow, so be careful. I think that today the bears going home are on the big defensive in this market. In the home builders, you're back up to the highs, and you're at the upper Bollinger Band, so you're at a resistance point. What really happened here is you ended a downtrend. And when you took out the high here, that put the market out of this break pattern that you had. And I don't know where it's going to go. I can tell you if it does go to the Bollinger Band, I'm going to look for the pros to come out of the market. And that's what I think they're doing. They're not bearish. They're waiting for another chart pattern. Energy sector. Well, if everything I'm saying is good on Omicron, you know that you've come up 10% in energy already. The Saudis look like geniuses at the last meeting when they said we'll still do the 400,000 barrels. We don't think the Omicron's as bad as the West is making it believe. And boy, are they right. They look, number one, politically, they win a battle. We as chartists were looking, going, why do you want to be short against the Bollinger Band? It came back up. I'm not saying it's in an uptrend. I'm saying it's in no trend, but the market has seen important lows. It would need another super bearish event to revisit them. Then as I take a look at emerging markets, well, we had talked back here, you and I over here. I did the same in my subscriber videos, and I said, once you cross that and you lost the embedded reading all the way back over here, I thought you were going to go to the 18-day average of closes. But the bear play is over. That was what I was saying. And you tell me what happened. Bingo. Then in gold. Gold's at an interesting point. It's trying to lose its bearish embedded reading. It needs a reading over 21 to do it. The first resistance is going to be the combination of the 200-day average and the 100. At least it should be. You can gap it. What do I know? But that's what I would assume. And then if that happens, then the 18. This could be where the market's finally bottomed itself out, and it fits in with what I put out in my gold report 2 weeks ago about the weekly charts. The dailies did not work out. The weekly is still very much in play. In the gold miners, you lost the embedded reading. So long. You don't want to be thinking the short side now. As of right now, for me, game over. And it's today. Yesterday you didn't close over 21, you did today. Game over. I think the market stands a good chance of getting back up there unless for some reason off this reports tomorrow you just crashed and you're re-embedded. I don't see that happening. It can't do it for another 3 days. So I don't see it happening at all. COPEX. Think of the logic here. If Omicron in the U.S. isn't a big event, and when I say big event, if you're vaccinated, it doesn't look like it's going to be a big event. For those of you that are not vaccinated, you're in serious harm's way. Why? It's more contagious than anything we've seen. It's a serious part of it. If you're not vaccinated, it's like the Delta. You could be in the hospital, you could die. You don't have to believe me, and I know I get people that write and they go, I don't know what I'm talking about. This is a conspiracy theory. I get it. I don't believe that. I get what you're saying. I'm on the other school where I think science is what you go with. I crack up when people in the Army that don't want to do this. You know, when you go to the Army, the first thing they do, you do understand with boot camp, how many vaccines do you get? Do you really know what they're doing? So then the people are arguing they don't want this one. When you're in the Army, you have certain rights. I get it. But you do understand the argument. You got all these other vaccines. You weren't bitching about that, right? It's such a rough thing. Who should get it, who shouldn't, and I'm not going into that. What I am saying is I believe that now that we see that Pfizer is saying that all the tests so far are showing that third shot does the trick, and I have all three of them myself, doesn't mean I won't get COVID, but I doubt that I'll be in a hospital from it. Well, if that's the case, why not copper to higher prices? That means China, which is their export-import numbers were a blowout this week. It means world trade. It means that people want to fill up more of the norm in the supply chains. Copper's one of those markets you look at. TLT. Well, interest rates, why would they be dropping now? Now I can make the argument they should be coming back up. We want to get through tomorrow. Tomorrow's so important to get through that inflation number, but I do believe we already know what the Fed is going to do, and I don't know that it's going to be the big event that people think a big number might be. Again, in the mornings, one of the first things I do, around 9 o'clock in the morning, I start recording my videos for my SPDR ETF and stock people. I do cover a lot of stocks in these videos. And I wait to that time because I want all the government reports to be out. And now I can start talking to you about what I'm seeing. Now, the beauty of tomorrow's is I'm going to be able to see these reports, give you what the analysis is, see what the market's done after they've already come out, and start setting up strategies. If you haven't seen these, I'd like you to do so. How do you do it? Just go to the website. Under the word research, spend the $8.95. You're watching these videos anyways. You're going to get 24 videos in a 30-day period. I do the weekly charts over the weekend. I'll mix some weeklies with dailies in the morning, and I cover a heck of a lot. Now, I'll be holding a live webinar probably next week, not this week, obviously. And that's because I want to get through these reports. I think they're important. I want to go right into the Fed meeting with the live webinar. I'll probably do it on Thursday so we get through the Fed, and then we at least have a lot to talk about going into Christmas. But in the meantime, www.iraepstein.com, research, give it a try. I'm Ira. Take care.